Tonight, we are here for this awards ceremony in recognition of the 50th anniversary of the JNF Hospital. Tonight, we are here to recognize the contributions, the service given to the present staff of the hospital and, of course, the past staff of the hospital for delivering quality health care and service to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and elsewhere.
My task this evening is that of recognizing the laudable service of the esteemed members of the Executive Management Committee. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Cameron Wilkinson is being recognized this evening as a member of the Executive Management Committee, Medical Chief of Staff from October 14, 2004, and for over 20 years of sterling service to this federation. Let's join hands in saluting Dr. Cameron Wilkinson. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Sonia Daly Finley is being recognized this evening as a member of the Executive Management Committee, Matron, Director of Institutional Nursing Services from January the 1st, 1999, and for over 32 years of sterling service to the Federation. Let's join hands in saluting Mrs. Sonia Daly Finley. Miss Gail I. Cranston is being recognized this evening as a member of the Executive Management Committee, Operations Manager from January the 1st, 2016, and for over 22 years of sterling service to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Let's join hands for Miss Gail I. Cranston.
By recognizing persons who have served for 46 years. Well, an individual who has served for 46 years. And that's none other than Miss Sylvine Carty. 39 years, we have Mr. Robert Felix from the pharmacy. 37 years, Mrs. Marcella Francis Brown, nurse manager. And Mrs. Josephine Spencer. 36 years, Mrs. Leona Blake Boyd, Mrs. Sharon Busso, Mrs. Paulette Hector, and Miss Carleen Carty, 36 years. Miss Pearl Liebert, 36 years, also housekeeping. Mrs. Joycelyn Williams, nurse manager, 36 years also. For 35 years, we have Dr. Ian Jacobs and Dr. Lopez. We continue with 35 years, Mrs. Lydia Woodley, nursing, Miss Jennifer Lowe, nursing, assistant nurse manager, and Mrs. Hyacinth Smith, 35 years, assistant nurse manager. For 33 years, Mrs. Jacqueline Duncan, assistant nurse manager, nursing. Miss Evel Simon, 33 years, nursing. Miss Agatha Stevens, housekeeping, 33 years. Mrs. Sandra Williams, 33 years. "32 years as healthcare personnel, Mrs. Angela Phillip, medical records. Mrs. Dorothy Millard Hodge in Central Medical Stores. Miss Cheryl Collins, housekeeping, 32 years. We continue, 31 years. Mrs. Laverne Bass, nurse, assistant nurse manager. Mrs. Claudette Clark, nursing, administrative night coordinator. Miss Bridget Henry, nursing staff nurse. Miss Cheryl Liebert, nursing. Mrs. Avis Tudor, housekeeping. Mrs. Isilma Wilkin, nursing. And also a cook at the Mary Charles Hospital. Very good cook. 29 years. Mrs. Deliro V. Nelson, administration. And Mr. Colin Mully, maintenance, 29 years. "28 years. Mrs. Sheila Brown, nursing. Miss Erklin Kelly, orderly. Miss Jacqueline Finley, nursing. Marilyn Liebert, nursing. Mrs. Heather Osborne, nursing. Mrs. Avis Stevens, nursing. Mm. 26 years. Miss Jacinth Amory, nursing. Miss Carmen Brown, housekeeping. Mrs. Sandra Keynes, nursing. Mrs. Celestine Davis, housekeeping. Miss Brown. Okay. Miss Thelma Gums, maintenance. Okay. Miss Lysander Simmons, assistant nurse manager, nursing. "25 years. Mr. Floyd Buchanan, Central Medical Stores manager. And Edwards, housekeeping. Mrs. Vince Henry, nursing. Mrs. Wendy Smith, nursing. Mrs. Jennifer Udo, nursing. Mrs. Sarah Percival, housekeeping. Mr. Delbert Wilkes, Central Medical Stores and Emergency Medical Services. Mrs. Karen Romney, nursing. 24 years. Mrs. Carrie Tuckett, nursing. Mrs. Louise Williams Morris, nursing. Miss Mary Keynes, nursing. Miss Alrona Mulrain McCoy, nursing. Miss Deborah Griffin, nursing. Mrs. Evelise Taylor, nursing. Mrs. Verlin Matthew Henry, nursing. Mrs. Lynette Wanda Dunward, nursing. Mr. Joel Patrick, radiology. "23 years. Mrs. Annette Bowers, nursing. Mrs. Yolta Belil Elliott, nursing. Miss Bevelyn Prentice, nursing. Bevelyn, sorry. Miss Lisa Richardson, nursing. Mrs. Lorna Prentice, housekeeping. Mr. Ivan Smithen, orderly. Miss Sandrine Stanley, nursing. Mrs. Joan Hanley Thomas, nursing. Miss Natasha Williams, nursing. Mrs. Sandy Daniel Archibald, administration. Miss Shermaine Archibald, administration. Miss Adina Billinghurst, housekeeping. Mr. Carl Brown, orderly. Mr. Joseph Bertie, orderly. Mr. Kenneth Herbert Lake, orderly. Miss Phyllis Ann Richardson, nursing. Mrs. Mayfield Robinson, housekeeping. Miss Rosalind White, seamstress. 21 years. Mr. Renato Bartlett, Central Medical Stores. Ms. Shavon Brown, housekeeping. Mr. Vaughn Harris, pharmacy. Ms. Lorraine Hendrickson, nursing. Ms. Patricia Isaac, housekeeping. Mrs. Donette Martin, pharmacy. Sinu. Miss Stacy Samuel, housekeeping. Miss Thelma Thompson, housekeeping. Mrs. Arlene Sutton Ward, administration. Miss Haley Williams, housekeeping. 20 years. Miss Ramona Brooks, housekeeping. Miss Gwyneth Diaz, orderly. Ramona Brooks. Miss Paulette Thomas, housekeeping. Mrs. Mabel Pemberton, housekeeping. Miss Tassia Williams, housekeeping. "19 years. Miss Carissa Brown, lab. Miss Dulcina Cannoneer, seamstress. Miss Domino Christmas Brisport, lab. Miss Candice Gums, lab. Dr. Dwayne Hendrickson. Sorry. Dr. Dwayne Hendrickson, orthopedics. Miss Jasmine Henry, housekeeping. Mr. Moses Philip, orderly. Yes. 18 years. Miss Chantel Keynes, Emergency Medical Services. Miss Keynes is on duty. Come. Miss Georgina Henderson, housekeeping. Miss Nutila, leader, lab. Mrs. Sherima Ogonbayode, Administration. Miss Christine Roach, Emergency Medical Technician. Mrs. Anelda Tuckett, Emergency Medical Technician. Mr. Eric Van der Poel, orderly. Van der Poel. "17 years, Miss Patricia Grant Allen, nursing. Miss Veronica Eddy, nursing. Miss Colette Francis, Emergency Medical Technician. Mrs. Ambrose Brown Francis, nursing. Mrs. Mary Govaya, housekeeping. Miss Adetta Long, housekeeping. Miss Stephanie Manning, nursing. Miss Jennifer Prescott, Emergency Medical Technician. Miss Jasmine Richardson, Radiology. Mr. Ronald Roberts, Emergency Medical Technician. Miss Jessica Williams, housekeeping. Okay. Mr. Gordon Woodley, Emergency Medical Technician. Mr. Leroy Woodley, orderly. 16 years. Mrs. Wendy Franks Cozier, nursing. Mr. Raymond Grant, orderly. Miss Joan Maynard, seamstress. Miss Zelma Morton, nursing. Mrs. Elizabeth Nichols, housekeeping. Mr. Amos Paris, orderly. Mrs. Avril Rollins, housekeeping. Mrs. Merlis Williams, nursing.
Thank you.
We will continue with 15 years, 10 to 15 years. Miss Vincia Boris, nursing. Mrs. Shawnit Caesar, nursing. Miss Carolyn Carty, housekeeping. Miss Denise Collins, housekeeping. Miss Mavis Lewis, nursing. Miss Venetia Lewis, nursing. Mrs. Goldin Woolard Morris, nursing. Miss Cara Pemberton, nursing. Mrs. Valencia Mike Rollins, nursing. Mrs. Elmer Jacob Robbing, nursing. Miss Giselle Rogers, housekeeping. Mrs. Noreen Martin Williams, nursing. 14 years. Mr. Leroy Barnes, emergency medical technician. Miss Cleo Griffin, housekeeping. Miss Kimpia Henderson, housekeeping. Mr. Kevin James, emergency medical technician. Miss Loretta Joseph, housekeeping. Miss Veltaki Isaac, emergency medical technician. Miss Rosalind O'Flaherty, nursing. Mr. Anthony Pemberton, emergency medical services. Miss Clavicia Natter, radiology. Miss Jacinth Warner, housekeeping. Dr. Bishawas Saheli, medical internist. 13 years. Miss Letitia Caesar, nursing. Mrs. Vincia Dunrad, nursing. Mrs. Davina Mitchum Harris, nursing. Miss Meldisha Lake, housekeeping. Miss Rosina Liebert, nursing. Miss Kenisha Mills, nursing. Miss Desiree Ward, nursing. Miss Sonia Vera, Lab. Mrs. Jacinth Williams Fraser, Nursing. Dr. Davine Wilkin, Anesthesiology. Years, Mrs. Sherilyn Crawford, Counseling. Miss Lynette DeGuire, Emergency Medical Technician, on duty. Miss Carlene Dubuisson, Emergency Medical Technician. Miss Marianne Francis, Emergency Medical Technician. Miss Paula Francis, Nursing. Mr. Tyrone Liddy, Housekeeping. Dr. Jose Lopez Martinez, Pediatrician. Mrs. Joan Choss Pemberton, Emergency Medical Technician. Mrs. Karen Richards, Nursing. Miss Prudence Samuel, Emergency Medical Technician. Dr. Daryl Warner, Orthopedic Surgeon. Mrs. Nydia Wharton White, Nursing. Dr. Joyce Woodley, Medicine Surgery. Mm-hmm. 11 years. Mrs. Basil Benjamin, Nursing. Mr. Antonio Bratcher, Orderly. Mrs. Melinda Brown, Nursing. Miss Vanessa Collins, Pharmacy. Dr. Ren Clark Baez, Radiology. Dr. Yeren Clark, Radiology. Miss Florence Daniel, Housekeeping. Miss Nicole Frederick, Nursing. Now we all know Miss Florence Daniel as Miss Eddie, right? Miss Naomi Eddie, all right. Miss Nicole Frederick, Nursing. Miss Gwendolyn French, Housekeeping. Miss Stephanie Hanley, Central Sterilizing Supplies Department. Miss Angeline Henry, Housekeeping. Mr. Joel Jeffers, Administration. Miss Doreen Johnson, Nursing. Mrs. Jacinta Diaz Prentice, Nursing. Miss Aikasha Rollins, Nursing. Mr. Livon Thomas, Housekeeping. Miss Natasha Thompson, Nursing. Mrs. Indira Tyson, Central Sterilizing Supplies Department. Miss Varsha Ward-Hull, Nursing. Years. Dr. Dwayne Archibald, Medicine. Miss Saskia Archibald, Lab. Mrs. Keisha Bloist, Nursing. Miss Tavanda Brown, Central Sterilizing Supplies Department. Miss Jessica Clavier, Nursing. Mrs. Helen Creary, Housekeeping. Mr. Lennis Dickinson, Orderly. Miss Laurentine Edmead, Nursing. Mr. Donville Eddy, Maintenance. Mrs. Ann Edwards, Emergency Medical Technician. Mrs. Gloria Fraser, Housekeeping. Miss Rochelle Huggins, nursing. Miss Melissa Huggins Ward, nursing. Miss Olive Markman, housekeeping. Miss Seema Merritt, housekeeping. Miss Seema Merritt. Miss Isilma Rollins, Central Sterilizing Supplies Department. Miss Millicent Renix, housekeeping. Miss Christine Richards, nursing. Miss Keneva Richardson, administration. Miss Tessa Sutton, emergency medical services. Mr. Alfonso Wilkin, orderly. Miss Andrea Williams, lab. Mrs. Novelia Rollins Russo. Mr. Trevor Watley, housekeeping. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are on to the special awardees. Miss Sylvian Carty, longest serving female. Mr. Robert Felix, longest serving male. Now there's a lady among us who has been in the healthcare ministry for 22 years. She has worked at the JNF General Hospital Institution-Based Health Services for 17 years and has been with the Ministry of Health for 5 years. But this lady, although she's physically at the Ministry of Health, she has not really left the institution-based health services. And so this evening we want to recognize Mrs. Javashti Baptiste Evelyn for outstanding administrative assistant. This evening, we also want to recognize Dr. Derek Jeffers. He is an obstetrician gynecologist, and although he's a private physician, we can call on him at any time, any day, any hour. And so we want to recognize him as an outstanding private physician. Then there's a lady among us. She always says that I only call on her when there's a death in the healthcare ministry. But this evening we want to call on her because we want to thank her for her contributions to the music ministry. She's none other than Mrs. Lucine Vaughan. Now, there's a lady among us who has served for many years as a teacher. And about 6 years ago, she came to us at the psychiatric unit at the Joseph N. France General Hospital. And every Monday, she was there without fail, working along with the patients on the psychiatric unit. And of course, her services were FOC. And this evening, we want to thank her very much for her contributions to patient care, especially the patients of the psychiatric unit. She is none other than Mrs. Gloria Mills. We want to thank her for 6 years of unswerving service. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have been serving as chair of the celebrations committee. But believe you me, I could not do it without this special lady, because no matter what, whether it was the health walk, the sports day, church service, this young lady ensured that everything went well. All the I's were dotted and the T's were crossed. She's none other than Mrs. Louise Williams Morris, an outstanding organizer, and we want to thank her very much. And Mr. Delbert Wilkes was a right-hand man, and so we want to thank him very much. He was most helpful, and so we call him forth, please, Mr. Delbert Wilkes. Thank you very much. Now, there's a gentleman among us by the name of Osin Gishard. Mr. Gishard is the most reliable staff member at institution-based health services. And we just want to say thank you, Mr. Gishard. We continue tokens of appreciation. The 50th anniversary committee just want to say thank you through expression, just a little token for their support during the last 3 months. First of all, we want to thank the Honorable Eugene Hamilton. He is not with us this evening, but we want to thank him for his support. And Honorable Wendy Phipps, we would like to show appreciation, so could you kindly come forward, please? It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It's okay, it's okay. Okay, leave it here. Your Excellency, Ambassador Shao Gawe, we just want to say thank you in a small way for acceding to our request at the last minute by allowing us to host this event here at the Eco Park. Thank you. Among us, we have the oldest person who has actually graced the walls of the Joseph Nathaniel France General Hospital, Dr. The Right Excellency, Honorable Sir Kennedy Simmons, our national hero. We just want to recognize you with a little token, please, sir. So could you kindly come forward? We continue. The committee would like to show appreciation to Miss Mary Keynes, Sandra Keynes, Dr. Yannick Henry, Mrs. Bernadette Jack, Miss Ainisha Jeffers, Mr. Henson Morton, Mrs. Novelia Wusu, Rollins Wusu, Miss Tenet Bedford, who's about to dance for us, Kenneth Bedford, who's about to dance for us. Where is Miss Bedford? Mrs. Heather Osborne. Miss Carol Pemberton. Miss Osha Robinson. Miss Kimisha Samuel. Mrs. Mayfield Stevens. Mrs. Kerry Tuckett. Mrs. Sandra Williams. Mr. Alistair Thomas. Miss Drusilla Vanderpool. Miss Joanne Wong. Joanne? Mrs. Josephine Johnson. Dr. Hazel Laws. And Mr. Lesroy Williams. Thank you very much.